All right, good stuff. Guys, let's get into college football. Let's go right around the horn. Bet on or fade team or both. Jeff, you just want to keep it going. What's a bet on team for you in college football, man?
Washington, the Huskies. They just quietly continue to roll right along, guys. And we could talk about their prospects of the college world playoff and the fact that they haven't played anyone. But this show is about me discussing a team that's been playing well, and you can't get a team that's been dominating really much more than them on the West Coast. I mean, they're 4-2 against the spread, but 3-0 in conference. They're absolutely. I'm really surprised, guys, at how good they've maintained and been even after losing so many players last year in their secondary. I mean, you look at their past, even seventh in the country, third in the country against the run. Their defense is right back up there at the top of the list. And a guy in Jake Browning has not been talked about much at all, but I mean, he's had quite the year. 14 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions, a 71% completion percentage. They've been able to move the football, and they're just crushing teams. Crush Cal, crush Colorado. They're just doing their thing out on the West Coast, putting up a ton of points. I'm excited to going forward about Washington and Washington State. This is going to be quite the battle in the Pac-12. I think the winner is going to come out of the Pac-12 and go to the college football playoff. If one of these teams is undefeated, they'll be in there. They're rolling right along, guys, kind of like last year. We're not giving them much love, but they've been downright dominant. I'll continue to ride them. I like this Washington. I love Washington, that state in football. I'm into both these teams. Like them a lot.
And big man, wait, are you laying the points on Friday with the Cougars against Cal?
I actually am going to. I actually talked about this game with Donnie Wrightside last night, and I think on the surface, a lot of people kind of say, well, I like Washington State in the small underdog role or small favorite. I'm not really looking to lay the points with them. But when you really peel back the onion and look at Cal, I mean, this team really has been unable to run the football. And what's concerning about that is they were kind of able to move the ball through the air, but they've not been able to do that lately. You look at the last couple weeks, I mean, I think they have like 50 rushing yards combined in those two games. You also look at the fact that it's not going to get any easier this week. Washington State has been absolutely fantastic against the run, and their secondary continues to be impressive. I know we don't want to give them any love, but their coach has done some amazing things. And Donnie pointed it out. Cal's always been a team that likes to throw the football and just kind of outscore people. Well, they're not outscoring anyone, and their defense is still just as bad. They're 108th against the pass. Against Washington State, that's a bad omen, a team that loves to throw the football around. And Cal just does the little things wrong. They turn the ball over a lot, 14 turnovers on the year, among the worst in the country. They're getting a really good football team in here at a low point in their season. Washington State not only has to they got past the fact of winning on the road. They went and did that easily up in Austin. I think they go on the road here again, keep this season going. I would, if I had to, lay the 2 touchdowns with Wazoo.
All right, good breakdown, big man. Hey, we got Lou Skunt saying in the chat box, break down the line moves. Lou Skunt, one of my favorite names. He brought up the New Mexico State Georgia Southern, and it went from, I guess, 9 back down to 7.5. But Lou, at the opener, it was 4.5. That number was off. So when you say taking money, that's just lately. I mean, the early money was definitely on New Mexico State, at least from the early opener with Bet Online. But hey, let's move on to at Babano. Ian Cameron, what about a bet on team for you, bud?
I'm sticking with Fresno State. I've said this about this team for weeks. The betting markets have been dead freaking wrong with this football team from day one this season. I mean, a team that is still undefeated from an ATS perspective. They're obviously going to be facing a better squad this week in New Mexico. But what I like about Fresno is, guess what? Run defense has been one of their strengths this season on that side of the ball, and that's where you've got to be strong when you're playing a team like the New Mexico Lobos, which they will be. And that fan base, a little bit more reinvigorated. They bring back the old alum Jeff Tedford back now with this Fresno State team. He's got a defense that's played a lot. I'm impressed, really, what I've seen from the Fresno State team on the defensive side of the football. I know shutting down San Jose State's nothing to sneeze, nothing to be overly excited about. But still, this team progressively, week by week, has played good on that side of the ball against Washington and Alabama, 2 of the better teams in the country. They hung in there in both of those football games on the defensive side. They didn't get embarrassed.
They gave up 48 and 41.
I know, but they didn't get completely embarrassed, big
lost
man.
by
That's the
31
point.
and
They're
30.
outmanned, but what did they do from a point spread perspective? Yeah, they got inside the number. That's the main thing at the end of the day. And Fresno State, to me, until the betting markets show correction on them, I'll be looking to back them again this week. Maybe it catches up with them as they take a little bit of a step up now playing New Mexico, but they've been stopping the run, and New Mexico is one-dimensional as far as I'm concerned as it gets, and I don't think New Mexico's as good this year as they were last year. So let's see if Fresno can come through with a casher one more time.
And Donnie, as far as bet on team, first I want to ask you, you said in the chat box, if she doesn't threaten to leave, she doesn't love you or something like that. Would you
because they would already be gone. They would already be gone. People that, care about you will threaten to leave. And then, oh, don't leave. Let's go out to dinner. We'll go to a movie. The people that already left, they're gone, baby. They're gone.
Okay, so she threatens to leave. That means she loves you, because if she didn't, she would have already left.
She would just be already gone. Yeah, if she didn't threaten to leave you, she don't even care about you. Like, you get the text message the next day, here's my divorce papers, I'm out. And like, oh, man, didn't see that coming.
No, that's a great point, man. I never thought of it that way. All right. What about bet on team in college football, man?
Not so much do I have a bet on team. There's two teams that I'm going to go bet against, so I'll just use them up on that. Number one, Ian just mentioned them there. I've watched them, and again, call me an idiot, a dummy, or whatever. I've watched two full games back-to-back weeks. One, San Jose State versus UNLV, one of the worst performances I've ever seen out there from a college football team, from a talent perspective, from a caring perspective, from why are we even in FBS? We should be an FCS team. So I go back the following week, and I had to play also in the San Jose State game versus Fresno State. I watched an even awful version of San Jose State take the field, where it basically was Fresno State just rolled their helmet out, ran a couple read options, ran the clock, and laughed at San Jose State because how inept they were offensively and defensively. Going forward, and even look now, I think Hawaii is up to an 18-point favorite. Hawaii is an 18-point favorite over somebody. That tells you to the depths that San Jose State has fallen. The second team will go to a Power 5 conference, the ACC. How did it get so bad for UNC? How did it get so bad? 1-5 in every single game I watch them. They get more injured, and they get actually worse. Louisville opening up. Oh, my God. Maybe we can, Cal opening up. Took a loss there. Louisville taking a loss. Oh, you beat Old Dominion, who for some reason has completely fallen off the map. Duke, they get beat in that, rivalry game by 10 points. Georgia Tech destroys them 33-7. Notre Dame goes in there, banged up as well, hammers them in their own house. Now they're going to get a nice Virginia team, which Jeff can tell you all about. Virginia, well-coached football team, is going to keep it on the ground. Good quarterback, a couple weapons they can use. I'm expecting right now UNC to get buried again and go to 1-6. The Tar Heels, with the most jacked coaching staff in the land, is going to be 1-6.
And Donnie Wright said the truth of the matter is, if you go back to the group and the roundtable we all did here, I believe Ian Cameron and myself all told everyone the UNC would be dreadful this year. We had people saying they got a great coaching staff. Larry Fedora is an offensive genius. How's that worked out for you? This team stinks. And again, I mean, we're not just saying this to say it. Sometimes we have to take this is great information we're putting out here. And if you followed it, you are cashing tickets. UNC is a dreadful football team. They beat Old Dominion, by the way, because Old Dominion, their quarterback, LaRussa, couldn't throw the ball in the water off a boat. I mean, he's dreadful. I mean, they're among the worst in the country, other than Navy and Army, in pass completion percentage. They can't move the ball. So you beat Old Dominion. Big deal. Other than that, you're right, Donnie. UNC is an absolute mess.
Yeah, I'm right on board with that. I've already got Virginia in play this week. I already bet it. Bet that game, Virginia, already. No argument whatsoever. Not a good football team. Decimated at the wide receiving core. There's no weapons or bodies left to throw to. And even if they could, I'm not sure any of these quarterbacks, Surratt, whoever the case may be, are capable of making consistent throws down the football field. We just haven't seen that from North Carolina. Their defense has been carved up on more than one occasion this season as well. It's just a fading football team. And when you start to see teams like this in free fall mode, especially in college football, it's the, what's that old saying, the old falling knife, don't go in front of it. North Carolina's in free fall right now. It's not a good situation right there. And I like what I'm seeing from Virginia. Big win on national TV weeks ago against Boise State. Good performance last weekend against the Dukies. There's a lot to like. Kirk Benkert, I think, has been a major upgrade for this team from a quarterback perspective. The East Carolina transfer has really played good at that position. Defensively, this team has gotten better and better each week. And shutting down this North Carolina team shouldn't be that difficult. 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. North Carolina, last 3 games, non-competitive to the number, outgained by nearly 500 total yards in their last 3 games combined. That is not a team I want my money on. Sorry.
All right, guys. So it looks like it's been bet up, to 3.5 now. So a little bit of a tick up, but still, I agree with you. I like the Wahoos in that matchup. Hey, guys, let's hit on this degenerate special real quick.
Hey, Drew.
Or actually, yeah, big man.
Yeah, one other thing. I actually want to discuss D.T. Tugg's comment. We must go back to LSU's former coach. What's his name? Les Miles, right? We heard for many years how good a coach he was. I mean, how many losers has this guy brought in to college football from a quarterback perspective? It's amazing. I mean, Danny Etling, Brandon Harris. I mean, I'm missing Anthony Jennings. I mean, who taught this guy talent at the quarterback position? I'm absolutely lost.
Who was his big recruit there that got angry at the kid that transferred like 15 times, like Notre Dame, Cincinnati? Who was that kid?
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember.
Gunnar Keel.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, how did he work out? He quit football because of a drug problem.
Yeah. And he stunk in Cincinnati, too.
Sure,
yeah, couldn't play.
It's a mystery at how LSU put up with that for that many years. And what's amazing is they've actually brought someone in stupider than him. That's amazing, LSU. Shame on LSU. That's why they never win anything, because they're nuts and they're lost in the head and they don't know what they're doing. Quickly, team to fade.
Come on, before you got to go LSU. You got to give me like what they're looking forward to this week at the coach, Jeff. Come on, can't let you off the hook. No.
Well,
you're going with the Auburn Tigers, man.
Yeah, we as the Tigers are going to face another Tiger team. Go Tigers! Even though I don't know which one's going to win, probably Auburn.
Bayou Tigers.
Bayou Tigers. I was going to take this. I was going to take my 22-foot C rate to the game, but then I found out
win or lose, I'll still eat some of that gumbo after the game.
Yeah. I got to tell you though, Danny Etling, he puts a little pep in the gumbo. I got to tell you, we got to get the team prepared. Go Tigers. Real quick, UConn. I just want to discuss. You talk about fade. It's only going to get more difficult for UConn. 0-5 against the spread already. They're 7-23 against the spread over the last 30. And guys, many of us know the AAC loves to throw the football around. They love to put points on the board. This team is dreadful through the air. I mean, they've given up 400 or more passing yards 3 out of their 5 games. They're giving up 53.5 points a game over their last 3 games. And now you got to go into conference play facing really good offenses. I mean, South Florida, UCF, Navy, Memphis. I mean, look at what Memphis did. Memphis got right last week, didn't they, guys? Look at that. This UConn team is lost. The problem with UConn is, and this is very important, Drew, I remember telling you this, you have to find teams in college football that do not have an identity or don't have their identity proven. UConn is a prime example. They have no idea what they're doing on offense. None. They're scoring points, which is interesting. So they're a good over team. That's kind of my point here. They can't stop anyone. They're kind of a wish-wash, put-together Jekyll and Hyde offense. They just don't know what they're doing. And when they face good teams, they're going to get absolutely plastered every time. Bob Diaco's long gone at Stores. It's only going to get more difficult for that defense.
Hey, that's a good point, big man. I'll piggyback off of you. You know, they bring in their offensive coordinator, kind of the Gus Malzahn disciple, running a little more tempo. And, you know, the head coach, he's going to be there next year no matter what. So I kind of look at it as Sonny Dykes circa when he took over for Cal. It was just all about offense. Go, go, go. Even though you're out-talented, he's trying to get into, like, South Florida and the southern states to bring recruits up to Connecticut. And he wants the excitement. So he doesn't care as much about wins and losses. I think it's a perfect fade material. And also, like you said, perfect over material going forward on UConn.
Yeah, and when you have an offense that you're trying to institute, you have to have people that can run it. Do I hate Brian Sheriff? No, I don't. But he's just not that good a quarterback, and you can't, you can't be a pit bull and hang out with a bunch of beagles and think you're a beagle. you're still a pit bull at the end of the day. You know, Rhett Lashley's got to realize that this is not Auburn. This is not, you know, this or that. This is UConn. You can't come in and just think you're going to institute this new offense with people that can't run it and expect it to run. You can't put water in your engine and think your car is going to run. It's not going to run. I mean, it just doesn't work. But yeah, I like fading UConn. It's something I'm going to do regularly here from here on out.
All right, guys. Hey, let's break down a game, and then we got the degenerate special and best bets. So just, I guess,
hey, Drew,
talking about
that degenerate special is on fire too. I think we're 2-0 since we started that.
Yeah.
How about that?
No, we're doing good, man. Let's keep it rolling. But so you want to do that first? You want to hit
we can hit Memphis Navy. Let's tease that degenerate special. Make sure you're here in about 5 minutes. It's going to be big time.
Yes.
Yeah, let's stick in the AAC. Then we'll hit on the degenerate special. We got Navy traveling, playing Memphis. Memphis coming off that big win, national television, versus Navy. I believe Navy's giving them trouble, huh? Memphis has had trouble defending that triple option. So how are we looking to bet this one? Donnie, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, you break it down to its simplest terms. I mean, the resurgence of the military schools, Army, Air Force, Navy, no longer, you know, the pushover to going 2-9 every year. The only game we care about is the last game of the year, Army-Navy game. These are actually really good football teams. Niumatalolo, a lot of these, you know, programs going to be looking up. I expect him to maybe, I know he loves Navy. It's all about, you know, being in that inner circle down there. He's got a job for life if he wants it, which means a lot to him. And he runs a dominant program, but he's a good coach, maybe looking on his way up here. But if you look at this game, just the way it plays out, what are you going to be comfortable with here? Look at the over-under at 75. We're going to expect points. You know, both teams do exactly what the other team doesn't really want to stop. Memphis is going to put on an aerial show with really good athletes and a dominant quarterback. It's not really what Navy likes to stop. Now, flip side there, you're going to take a look at a physical Navy football team just running a system at you. Memphis isn't going to be able to handle that. When it breaks down to its common element there, it's going to come down in the fourth quarter. I don't see any team blowing each other team out. But when you really need a stop, you know, when you throw the football a lot, things can happen. A tip ball, drop pass, interception, whatever you may be. The one thing with Navy, when you're going to watch this game, they're going to rip chunks of 5, 6, 7 yards every single play where it's hard to stop. They're not going to get penalized. They're going to move right through that Memphis team. It's hard to go against last week and you see them put up 70. Can they do that? Yes. But I think Navy's counterpunch of keeping the football and not getting stopped, I don't see Navy punting that much in this football game. I'll lean Navy in this situation here, and I love the fact that they're getting points. If you can get it 3.5 or 4, whatever you're sitting at there, more power to you, but I lean Navy in this situation here.
So you like Navy more than the over?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, 75. Do I think there's going to be points? Yes, but 75, every single thing has to go correctly in that football game for you to hit that number. You know, maybe if it was 71 in the lower 70s, I would lean there. And the fact that Navy is not an up-tempo team to counter and go against Memphis' up-tempo team. When I get a number in that mid-70s, I want to make sure, but like the USF versus ECU team, both of them went 100 miles an hour. One team didn't play any defense. It's a really good recipe, but you can see Navy. I mean, all it takes is, you know, a 9 or 10 play drive from Navy, and that's 8 minutes off the clock. And heaven forbid if they kick a field goal, now you're running behind the scales. That's the only reason why I wouldn't touch the over in this situation.
Yeah, good point. I don't like betting those teams that just sit on the ball, like you said, 8 minutes off the clock in one drive. But also the fact, you know, when you look at who Navy's played, I mean, there isn't anybody that has nearly the quarterback talent or the passing game that Memphis is going to bring. I mean, they played Tulane, FAU, Cincy, Tulsa, who sucks, and Air Force. So nobody can really throw the ball. So you could see Memphis really rack up some passing yards. I mean, Jeff, how are you looking to bet this?
Yeah, to go against your point there, the way to keep that offense off the field is to be on the field. And Navy is number 1 in the country in time of possession, 35 minutes per game. That's, for me, the big thing. And you're right, though, Drew. I mean, they have not been tested, and that's kind of why the Naval Academy is looked good in their passing situations. I would agree, though. I think they're going to get exposed at some point. This will be a high-scoring game. I wouldn't be betting the under in this game. But for me, I agree with Donnie Wright said. I'm gonna look to take Navy as well when they're getting points. Which, if you look at the last several weeks, they've been double-digit favorites in all their games. They're now an underdog to Memphis. Memphis is overrated. They're a fraud. Who have they played? Who have they beaten? UCLA at home at 12 o'clock. UCLA stinks. Big deal. I mean, honestly, you put 70 on UConn. You, me, and 9 listeners can do that, Drew. Who cares? This Navy team is, again, going to keep the football. And I got to tell you, Drew, if I need a stop at the end of the game, I'm not looking Memphis' way to get it. I'd look at the Naval Academy. And I also want to point out as well, you have a team, and I don't put these numbers out much. I just don't care much about what happened years ago. But the Naval Academy, as I've discussed with Donnie Wright, said, when you have any military academy, all those academies are the same team every year. Doesn't matter what personnel. They're the same exact football robots every year. They all do the same thing. This Navy team, 79-39 on the road against the spread over the last 118 games. They're a great road team. They're a great underdog team as well if you look at the trends overall. Last thing, Donnie, or guys, the big thing on this game, the little things. Navy is third in the country in fewest penalties per game. Memphis, 122nd. That's going to be a difference in this football game. You have a concise, disciplined football team that knows how to win against a Memphis team that really just been a potpourri of a mess this year for the most part. Give me the points, Navy.
Yeah, it's simple for me. I can't lay it with Memphis. I mean, that's with a bad defense against a quality team, and Navy still has a quality football program, just like they have in recent seasons for Coach Ken Niumatalolo, who continues to do great work there. Can't lay points with a bad defense. But at the same point in time, this is from a totals perspective, I can't bet this thing under. Even at 75, it's a question of value. Is the number too high in your opinion? That's up to each individual better in the end, but I want no part of this game under because I don't think either team is well equipped to stop what the other team does well. I don't think Memphis is going to stop that triple option ground game by any stretch of the imagination. You look at Memphis, they're giving up nearly 200 rushing yards per game, nearly 5 yards per carry. Not very good at all. But then you look on the flip side, Navy hasn't been tested from a pass defense perspective against quality offenses and quarterbacks a whole ton, other than maybe Tulsa and facing Chad President. But Cincy's erratic offensively in their pass game. Tulane doesn't really do that a whole lot. Air Force is a triple option team. Florida Atlantic, when they're breaking in a new coach and new system on the offensive side of the football. So this is going to be a much taller challenge for Navy in terms of facing Riley Ferguson and this Memphis passing attack. And, even despite not facing a great litany of pass games so far, Navy's still giving up 14.4 yards per completion. I mean, they're giving up big plays still in the passing game, despite not facing that slew of great passing attacks and quarterbacks to this point. So that is a concern on the Navy side. But fact of the matter is, it's a down-to-the-wire game, has that kind of feel written all over it. I can only take the points with Navy, and I can only bet it over. But, boy, not going to be easy. You need a clean ride to get up and over a 75.
Another interesting strategy, and also is maybe this is similar to UCF, the way I think a lot of us were concerned of, are they good enough to stop an offense like this? Hadn't really faced anyone coming into that game. They shut Memphis down. Could Navy do the same thing? It wouldn't surprise me, but I've learned over the years, do I love Navy? Sure, but their defense is a bit of an issue at points.
Undermanned and undersized a little bit. They are on that.
And Niumatalolo will come out and say it. And to Donnie's point, interestingly enough, that would be an interesting thought process. Could he take that triple option to a high-level program? He's making $2 million a year, so he's making about half what Chris Peterson is or Kirby Smart.
Power 5 school, yeah, they'll double that. Yep.
It would be interesting to see if that would work, and I'd be interested to see if it would work. I would love to see that triple option at Washington against
Oregon
Alabama.
State. Oregon State,
or something like that. Sure. Yep. That's an interesting point by you. I don't know that he would ever leave. He comes across to me as a
great spot. You're right.
A real family man. And you look at Oregon State, they paid Gary Anderson $2.5 million. So it's a slight uptick as far as, but again, he'd be closer to his family. His whole family lives in Utah. It's not easy for him to be the coach at Navy from a family perspective, but it'd be interesting to see if he'd leave. I don't think he'd ever leave, to be honest. Navy is a beautiful place to play and to be at.
And the kids that you got, Jeff, can you imagine? He shows up, they come there, they go to. He doesn't wear it that they're coming late on time. Yes sir, no sir. I mean, yeah.
It's an absolutely perfect program. Yeah. If I was a football coach, I would want to coach at Navy. I mean, honestly, it's a flawless group, and if he leaves, I think he would regret that. Honestly.
I was just looking up Paul Johnson's salary. I can't find it, but didn't he do that same progression through?
Paul Johnson makes $2.8 million a year.
Yeah. And again, yeah, I mean, that's a long time ago that they signed them. And you would figure if you're a Power 5 team, let's just say Oregon State, because they have a coaching, vacancy and it's already Power 5. You're going to have to lure him away. This isn't like, hey, what do you make, 2? We'll give you 2.5. No, we really need you to resurrect our program. It's in the dumps. How about 5? Okay.
And I think you can relate it a lot to like Bronco Mendenhall. Bronco Mendenhall was in an absolutely fantastic spot career-wise. He was in his state, his home state. He could recruit. I mean, he was doing great things at Brigham Young, but he left and went to Virginia just for the money aspect. At this point, he started to turn it around, and he will. It's interesting. He's Niumatalolo is an older guy. I mean, he's in his 50s. I mean,
you see him running on the field, Jeff. Didn't look too swift when he was running after the win.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't leave Navy if I was him. He seems like one of those people that he's not going to just move for money. But hey, you never really know a guy until you put some money in his face. So. Who knows?
Hey, and what about that profile up in Oregon State? So you're kind of getting out recruited a little bit. So bringing in the triple option helps there. And also all the other Pac-12 offenses throwing it around, only a week to prepare for your triple option. I like it. I think that could be a good fit.
That was Georgia Tech's MO right there. I mean, how are you going to recruit at Georgia Tech from an elite level going right in that area? You got the SEC country right there. A lot of teams still want to go Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech in that area. So how do you counterbalance that saying, look, I can't go up against toe-to-toe with the big guys to get the best recruits. Watch this system kick butt, and it's worked.
Coaches have definitely used, triple option systems and installed those as basically as a way to mask athleticism deficiencies, speed deficiencies, talent deficiencies, depth deficiencies, just to say, hey, we're going to make it tough on the opponent.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that would be I would be really interested to see that. But the problem with Oregon State is they're a dreadful athletic program right now. I mean, they're being totally overshadowed by their basketball team's dreadful, their football team's terrible. And like you guys said, I mean, he's going to get beat recruiting every year, and he's not going to have to fall back on the fact that you have a military school, you're disciplined, you're getting disciplined kids already. Oregon State's going to be a little different scenario. You're on the West Coast. You can't win recruiting as it is. I think he should stay personally. And I got to tell you, Donnie, let me ask you, Ian, let me ask you, last thing. If someone said to you right now, you can either go coach at Georgia Tech or Navy, where would you pick?
I pick Navy.
It depends if you're running a system, though.
Well,
if you're running a system, I'm going to go coach. I'm not going to coach. I'm not going to stay at Navy because
let's say you're running the triple option. You're going to Navy.
I'd go to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Yeah, I probably would go to Georgia Tech in a Power 5. No, but it's fun though. I mean, you try to measure yourself up against sometimes. It's just a matter of what your coaching's going to like. How long have you been there for? Like Niumatalolo's been there forever. Like him leaving is a little bit different than somebody trying to put his foot in the ground. You could say the same thing about Paul Johnson. Like, hey, I got a great gig here at Georgia Southern. I'll dominate. We're eventually going to go FCS. Why don't I just stay here and build it like a Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech? Some people want to go and challenge, go against the best.
Yeah, Niumatalolo 52, so he's not that old. Oregon State
seems like because he's been there so long. Yeah,
I would love to see that program out there.
And that's why I love the Willie Fritz hire from the beginning with Tulane. Tulane's had their clocks cleaned in recruiting for years and years and years. You could almost even say a decade or more that Tulane's just not been able to get crushed in recruiting. Bring in a triple option, bring in a smart head coach, Willie Fritz. We're going to make it tough on teams. You got to prepare for this on a weekly basis and look at the inroads and look at the progress we're seeing from the Tulane Green Wave now.
They have done
great things they've done there.
They have done not only on the football side, they have done a fantastic job of getting good hires. Look at what they did on the basketball side. Mike Dunleavy Sr. will do some good things there. You can mark my words on that.
You got that Tom Benson money now, man.
It's all about hires. And as we're seeing in coaching now with Willie Fritz at Tulane or with, Justin Fuente at Virginia or wherever you go, the hires are being made correctly. Look at a loser team like Tennessee, though. The big-time SEC school, the big-time LSU SEC school. They have failed repeatedly at coaching hires. Why are these small schools just sunning them in the coaching hires? It's not good. The SEC is the most overrated conference in sports. They have one or two good teams every year, and that's fucking it. It's pathetic. They can't hire correctly. Tulane is a great if you're a small school, they're an athletic program you want to look at on a rising up strategy. They've done a great job at hiring.
Could we actually see Tulane football and then Tulane basketball this season go back-to-back with plus unit seasons against the spread?
I could see it both.
I think we could.
I mean, they had 4 losses last year by 10 points or less. They're going to be in that discussion. They have done a great job this year. And that New Orleans area is ripe with basketball talent. I mean, you don't have a ton in that state. LSU's not a great basketball program. I mean, it's not like McNeese State's going to
Monroe, Lafayette.
New Orleans. I mean, come on. Tulane Tulane's going to get some recruits and some transfers as well, and they're in the AAC, so that works as well.
Yeah, I mean,
higher up
New Orleans is a great place
conference.
to recruit too. You know, and even football wise, the state of Louisiana, I believe, last year had the highest D1 recruits per capita out of any state, even more than Florida.
Plus, it's nice weather for the most part. Yeah. Nice place to live. I agree with you. I think Tulane's an upstart group in Division I athletics.
All right, guys. Hey, let's hit on this. Great discussion, by the way. But let's hit on this degenerate special and get into best bets. Also, feel free to just throw out. We had a couple questions on tonight's game, Troy versus USA. Not sure if any of you guys are involved with that. I think the numbers are about right, but feel free to chime in on that as well. We got Charlotte 49ers versus the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Are you laying 16.5 with an 0-5 against the spread team? Are you actually going to bet on the Charlotte 49ers? I did once, and I vowed never to do it again this season. But, guys, how are we looking to bet this one? Donnie, start us off, man.
I mean, if you're looking from Western Kentucky, I mean, obviously, the coach moved on. We saw all that electric play, great quarterback play, running backs out the wazoo, wide receivers out the wazoo. It seems to be all gone at this point. Just looking at their schedule, playing with Illinois 20-7, who's a terrible team, playing with Louisiana Tech that we saw is not that great at this point. You did beat Ball State, who's awful, getting rocked repeatedly in the MAC. UTEP might be one of the worst teams out there on the planet. You beat them 15-14 after they fired their coach. But then you look on the flip side and you say, what's Charlotte got going on? I thought they were actually on the move as a program. Hassan Klug being able to run inside, outside read option. And then you look at their schedule and you go, let me get this straight. You scored 3 points versus Marshall and Georgia State shut you out. And then you say, well, how about when you stepped up in competition? I mean, Kansas State brings it on defense. You scored 7. You got beat 55-7. The simplest element, sometimes, Drew, I say the lines maker is usually the smartest guy. If he's going to lay a number like that, I'm just going to read the number and I'm going to take it because it looks like way too many points to give a bad football team. But I'll lay it because this is that bad of a football game. That's why it's the degenerate special here.
Yeah, well said. I'm not involved either, but big man, how are you looking to bet this?
This is a doozy one.
I actually really like the Hilltoppers this game. I think it's Donnie makes a really good point, but I mean, I think we have to discuss. When you're betting against a team like Charlotte. Charlotte is horrible. I mean, they're disgraceful to Division I football. I mean, this is a team that lost to North Carolina A&T, by the way. They're scoring 12.8 points a game, among the worst in the country. And look, I mean, they've given up 24 or more in every game this year, Charlotte. So you also look at the ineptness of their defensive line. You talk about defensive line, Drew. They could have the worst defensive line in the country. They are dead last in sacks per game. They're one of the worst in the country in tackles for loss. They just don't pressure the quarterback. They allow open season back there for a quarterback. Mike White should get right in this game. They have some receivers. Nicarius Fant, Lucky Jackson. I mean, they have some players. It's questionable how poor they've gotten, but I'm not ready to give up. They're here at home in this game. They're facing a quarterback in Klug who has a 46% completion percentage. His pass efficiency is 128th in the country. They're just a dreadful football team. I look for the West Kentucky team to get off the schneid here, cover a game finally. There's a major difference here between West Kentucky against UTEP and West Kentucky against Charlotte. You had a UTEP team that was reinvigorated. They got a new coach of just for 1 week. They were at home. They were off that good performance for the most part against Army. Charlotte is lost. They're up the creek without a paddle. I think they're a top 5 worst team in the country. I'll stick by that. I think this is like a 34-10 type of game. I would lay the number with the Hilltoppers.
Okay. And then we got Ian Cameron. Yeah, go for it, man.
I won't be involved, but it's dog or pass for me. Sorry. I can't lay 16.5, 17 here with Western Kentucky. Charlotte has covered 2 in a row. In their last 2 games against Marshall, FIU. Obviously lost them, but did cover the number. That's a 2-0 ATS run they've got going into this, but I'm not betting Charlotte either. It's a clear pass for me. Over might be worth a look. 47. I do think in theory this is a time where Mike White's still a quarterback that even though he's lost the intellect of Jeff Brom and now he's got the brainless at times Mike Sanford on his side. I'm not a Mike Sanford guy. I really am not. We've seen the downfall we've seen from Western Kentucky so far this season and not covering a number. It's been not very good from this offense, very disappointing, but there's a chance for them to get going here against this Charlotte defense. They should be able to put up some points, but Western Kentucky's defense, we've seen it be leaky. Charlotte's offense has looked a little hapless at times themselves, but maybe they can get something going. Maybe you get, two bad teams, two struggling teams, two reeling teams, a makeable total of 47. Maybe it can get over that number.
Yeah, I mean, let it sink in. The one stat I love on this, they played FIU. We've seen FIU play this year. They gave up 475 yards to FIU, which equated to 5.7 yards on the ground per carry. And then per pass attempt, not completion, per pass attempt, 16.1 yards. Amazing.
Yeah, they're a really poor. I mean, you can almost bag on the fact that they will not get to the quarterback at all. So you're leaving pretty good receivers who I think Sanford's got to unleash something here. I mean, I don't know if he's hiding something or what, but and you look at this conference sucks. I mean, you can win this. North Texas might win this conference, guys. Florida Atlantic's alive in this conference. Yep. This conference blows. I mean, they're just waiting for a team to wake up. I can't bet Charlotte here. I don't want to. I think Donnie makes a good point about the line as well. This line is a West Kentucky line.
It's easy to see why CUSA is all screwed up. I mean, you've got your typical behemoths, Western Kentucky, arrow pointing down on them. Louisiana Tech, arrow pointing down on them. Southern Miss has been as schizophrenic as it can be so far this season. So it is a wide open shit show of a conference this year. That's what we're seeing, basically. Really
bad conference. If you can, and I'll say this to the listeners or anyone, if someone can find me Conference USA odds right now, I would love to bet that. I can't find them anywhere, but that would be interesting because I think North Texas could win this conference.
Absolutely. Seth Luttrell's doing good work there.
I like the Mean Green.
That quarterback, pretty fine. No pun intended. He's done all right for them.
Jeffrey Wilson's a good running back, too.
Yep, exactly. I think North Texas has been good. In fact, I'm a little upset I haven't bet them more because I actually thought they were a bet-on team coming into this season. I haven't done enough to profit from it.
Sure.
All right, guys. Hey, I guess I'll stick with the Western Kentucky side as well, just because Charlotte, I can't bet them again. So if there's three of us on Western Kentucky, one of us, I guess this is the first disagreement. So is this Western Kentucky on the Degen?
Yes, 3-0, baby. Let's get it.
All right. So, sorry, Ian. No, but good stuff, man. Hey, guys, let's do best bets real quick, going around the horn. Best bet for the week, big man on campus.
Can we skip me to the end?
Yeah, sure. So you going? You want to go later, or you don't want to
well, no, I'll just go at the end. Actually, I'm looking for the best.
I'll start us off. We talked about 193, 194 Navy versus Memphis. I know Donnie brought up a good point about Navy running clock. I just don't think they'll be able to run enough clock. So I'm going to go over in this one. They haven't faced a passing attack yet. I think Memphis is going to light them up through the air. I do think Navy can win the game, should win the game, but I think more importantly, it will go over 75. So I'll take the over 75 pretty much across the board. Take it at 5 dimes right now. Ian, why don't you go next, man?
Yeah, God, why did the last week have to be a week that this team lost? Because I know we're getting not as good of a number now because of it, but I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face, and I've said it every time this coach has been in this role. Tom Herman as an underdog.
We still there, guys?
Pride, some bounce back, some chutzpah after getting absolutely shocked by Iowa State with a third-string quarterback last week at home. I don't think that's going to be easy. I don't think moving the ball against Texas defense is going to be easy. And let's not forget, Baker Mayfield and that offense was out of sorts against that Iowa State defense in the second half. They didn't really do much offensively moving the football in that game. You're seeing Texas get that defense really starting to play better in recent weeks. It's the Red River rivalry. I can get +8 with Texas. They almost beat USC on the road earlier this season. Really could have if a couple breaks go their way. This is Tom Herman's role, and I will bet Tom Herman in this role repeatedly until I see different results. Give me Texas +8, rotation number 182, best bet for the roundtable.
All right, Texas plus 80. And now we got Donnie. Donnie, why don't you go next, man?
I'm going value here today, and we're going to use up our, play of the day, play of the week on a game today in Major League Baseball. It's going to start at 4:08 Eastern time, unless they rain it out and cancel it, even though they have 17 hours to play it. Washington and Chicago, Strasburg, Arrieta. So let me get this straight. Yesterday, if you were betting Arrieta, you're probably looking around 155, 160 in that range. I look up, in the past couple of hours, it's crashing down. So now you can get Arrieta at Chris minus 113, Sportsbook minus 117, Bet Online minus 113. You're going to have Tanner Roark in the game. Save what you want for Tanner Roark. I don't think he's that great of a pitcher, but he's healthy. His mind is clear, and he doesn't have the sniffles. Word breaks yesterday. Hey, game's canceled. Yeah, well, Strasburg's not going to go. He's a little under the weather, needs his Wubby and his Binky. So, okay, Tanner Roark seemed like, I'm going to take the mound. I don't know whether his team, cornered Strasburg and were ready to jump him if he didn't take the mound. So now it almost seems like I'm forced to take the mound. I don't really feel good. I have a sore throat. I don't know if I can make it through. That line dropped 40 cents with Strasburg. Give me the Cubs today, just out of spite, saying this guy did not want to pitch this game. And they said, you will pitch this game. And he said, oh, okay. Hopefully I have my medication. Give me the Cubs today. Cheap line, minus 113, play of the week, Cubs.
Donnie right side, Cubs minus 113. All right, man. And last but not least, big man, go for it.
We all know I love Donnie right side. I agree with him. I'm totally in agreement here. This is absolutely deplorable. And you have King Moron leading your team, Dusty Baker. I mean, this is just great. The Cubs have to be sitting back and saying, oh, my God, we thought this was a blessing. And look at how they fucked this up.
Dusty Baker, the postseason whisperer.
Don't even get me started on Dusty Baker because it's amazing, but he's actually a worse manager than Joe Girardi. I never thought I'd utter those words, but he is. It's amazing how bad he's been. And this group can't hit a fucking ball, a beach ball. It's amazing. They are brutal right now at the plate. Give me Jake Arrieta just sitting back, a little bit of extra rest time for him and the Cubbies. They don't lose at home. I love them at home. Look for them to close this series out and get this punk loser, Dusty Baker, out of here. I'll go with that one and also throw another one in. Give me the Indians today. We know I love the Bombers. I'm a Yankee fan to the core, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think they can go on the road and beat the Indians. I just can't. I'll lay the 1.5, to be honest. The Lindor, Ramirez, and Santana trio, 20 for 42 off Sabathia, 9 runs batted in. The Yankees haven't won on the road in 5 straight playoff games. And add in the fact that this series was over when Joe Girardi screwed up in Game 2. We shouldn't even be playing this game. But due to the ineptness of this moron, we are. That's why we're playing this game. It's not about the Yankees. They were deflated mentally. And I think going on the road, they were at home, so they had that working for them. But on the road against the horse Corey Kluber, who screwed up in Game 2, don't expect him to do that tonight. I think the Indians beat the Yankees. I think they beat them like 6-2. It sucks, but this needs to happen. We need to move on from Joe Girardi, king dipshit. Give me the Cubs. Give me the Indians on the run line. Lock it up.
Yeah, I know many Yankee fans are hoping Joe Girardi and his little holy Bible, that black book that he swears by all the time, gets sent packing and sent right on out of there. But, yeah, there you go. Jeff not buying into the carbs and calories Sabathia diet tonight.
It sucks because I love the Yankees. They're a year ahead of schedule probably. But I just think this is a tall order. And that idiot leading the team, come on.
All right, guys, so doubling up on the Cubs with best bets, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. And Texas on +8. I'm on the Navy, Memphis over 75. Guys, please give us thumbs up, a likes. It helps us out a lot. Thanks for tuning in, and we will be back next Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Anything else, guys, before we shut it down?
Catch me today, 3 o'clock, Premier League, Match Day 7. We'll review it. International break's over. We'll talk about some fun soccer stuff. I know everyone will tune in. Join me at 3 o'clock with the soccer mates.
All right, good stuff. We also got Ian Cameron on the Ice Guys.
NHL Ice Guys
show closing line as well.
Yeah, NHL Ice Guys Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Had a great 4-0 best bet sweep on the show yesterday. Hopefully we have more of those in the future. And later today, I'm on closing line with Donnie, 6 p.m. Eastern, and the late night anger management class with Gabe. So 2 shows to go. It'll be a fun day.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.